大家好，我LION哥。重磅消息啊！中美咧正式決裂喎。一陣間有條片，條片係講啲咩咧？特朗普突然間咧就召開個記者招待會喎，就指控中共咧就干預2020年個選舉啊，今日令到佢輸咗啦，係嘛？今日更加指控中共咧大規模嘅入侵咗啲選舉資料啊，非法取得咧就2.2億筆呢個美國選民嘅檔案。美國3億幾人口啊，今日2.2億嘅選民資料，即係所有美國選民嘅資料都俾佢攞晒係嘛？大家唔好覺得呢一筆係小事喎，因為大家要知道喺呢個西方國家咧，大家要一定好尊重呢個私隱係嘛？而且呢啲係呢個國家安全啊，中國成日講嘛，國家安全好重要嘅喎，大家都入侵晒呢個美國嘅系統，攞晒所有美國選民嘅資料，究竟你會對呢筆嘅選民做乜嘢咧係嘛？咁亦都大家要知道 Donald Trump 嘅性格，有仇必報嘛，突然間佢咁高調開記者招待會，後邊一定有後着嘅。一單咁重要嘅消息咧，LION哥都唔好評論咁多係嘛？一陣間有一條大約5分鐘嘅片，點解要剪咁多俾大家睇咧？因為要剪咁多俾大家睇先至原汁原味，睇到 Donald Trump 點樣發火。YouTube 咧有個新 function 或者叫做粉絲推介，大家見到有個3個 icon 推一推咧就見個粉絲推介，咁大家按落去咧就得㗎啦。咁樣做咧可以幫助咗LION哥個頻道咧可以推廣俾更加多嘅朋友睇嘅。如果大家有時間，更加可以睇埋廣告同埋俾埋 like 我啦。咁我喺呢度多謝大家嘅幫忙同埋支持先。
Compounding the travesty, the second set of documents we are releasing reveals that members of the deep state, very, very famous group of people, in many cases, in our intelligence agency work to actively suppress and downplay information about the extent of China's sinister election meddling, covering it up from both the president and the American people like nobody thought was possible. U.S. spy agencies began learning about the compromise of voter registration files in 2020 when they discovered that tens of millions of voter data, think of that, tens of millions of voters' data in 18 states have been bought, stolen, or hacked by China. Yet those responsible for sounding the alarm instead kept the information secret and hidden. They did not disclose to me as president or to anyone else, and to the best of our knowledge, they did not inform Congress. In fact, all they kept saying is, this is the most secure election in the history of our country, a standard, very pat line that was divvied out to say. The cover-up of this colossal security breach is even more disturbing in light of the additional information showing that China engaged in other election-related activities to undermine my first administration and our 2020 campaign. They did not want, and they just didn't want it. They fought like hell not to have it, Donald Trump, to win, and for good reason. As the documents we are releasing show, CIA reporting explicitly stated, and I quote, in mid-2018, the Chinese Communist Party's policy was to leverage all domestic and foreign elements that were opposed to the U.S. president in an effort to reduce the U.S. president's votes and make him resign or prevent his re-election. Isn't that nice? Also, in mid-2018, China was working to influence the results of the U.S. midterm elections and later the results of the 2020 presidential election itself. Separately, in mid-2019, the Chinese government's strategy against the United States was focused on undermining domestic confidence in the U.S. president. They wanted to just make you sound like your president wasn't so hot, when actually your president has done a great job. And they did everything possible to do exactly that. Going on, this document says, and this is by the CIA, the strategy included efforts to use Chinese contacts with big U.S. companies to influence U.S. business leaders to turn against the President of the United States of America. The Chinese government sought to identify U.S. journalists who had reported negatively on the U.S. president and pay them large sums of money to write more negative articles about him, as many as they could, and they didn't care what they said. The Chinese government wanted U.S. president to lose the next election, and the reason they wanted me to lose is because they knew I was wise to them, charged them billions and billions of dollars worth of tariffs, and built the strongest military anywhere in the world. We have the strongest military anywhere in the world. These are exact quotes from the CIA reporting. The name of the person doing the quote is now under review, but it gets even worse. Raw intelligence obtained by the FBI in 2020, yet buried by rogue bureaucrats, stated that China's activities even included an attempt to manufacture illegal ballots for Joe Biden. Documents show that during this period, dozens of significant CIA and NSA reports about China's election targeting were kept out of the presidential briefing. These were briefings I would get almost every day. Everything was kept out that was of importance. One email among intelligence analysts admitted that they had, quote, deliberately massaged the presidential daily briefing to withhold information regarding Chinese activities related to the election. Another official inside the FBI wrote that she was running, quote, a shadow government, unquote, to keep intelligence about China's election meddling from becoming known and to keep it away from the honorable press. Other officials who witnessed such
中共干預呢個2020年嘅美國總統大選呢，咁啊喺2020年啊，呢個即係雙重間諜啊，郭文貴呢就曾經爆過料出嚟啊嘛。嗱咁啊，即係我都話郭文貴啲嘢係雙重間諜，佢就係將有啲嘢係假嘅，同有啲嘢係真嘅，就混埋一次講啊嘛。所以你好難分別得到，喂，究竟佢邊啲係假，邊啲係真咧係嘛？呢個對於中共成日用嘅技巧啊嘛，將啲假消息就混喺啲真消息入邊。嗱咁我哋唔好理佢假定真啦係嘛？咁啊而家睇翻嚟咧，咁佢呢一段消息咧就係真嘅喎係嘛？嗱，佢亦都即係重申啦，習近平咧要不惜代價，一切要讓拜登登基啊嘛。嗱，點解一定要話拜登做總統咧？因為大家要記下，由2018年開始，Donald Trump已經同呢個即係習近平打呢個關稅戰啊嘛，話要加佢關稅喎。今日19年呢個即係習近平8月嗰陣時，話想出兵嚟到即係平亂喎，嚟到香港啊，好似6.4咁即係清場喎。好啦，咁啊係啊 ，Donald Trump 咧就阻止咗佢啊嘛。如果唔係咧，就香港咧就真係有一個自己即係香港版嘅6.4啦。咁啊，加上其他嘅事情啦，係嘛？呢個即係19年尾嗰個新冠肺炎，即係武漢肺炎啦，係嘛？Donald Trump一路都係指責呢個中共咧就播毒噶嘛。咁啊，習近平咧當然係即係唔 like 啦，係嘛？我話係啫，但係你都唔喺度周圍講啊嘛。嗱，所以咁多事即係產生之下咧，佢一定要將阿 Donald Trump 咧就拉落馬啊嘛，所以全力咧就支持阿拜登啦。嗱，大家唔好以為呢件係小事啊！阿 Donald Trump 特登開個記者招待會咧，指名道姓即係點名中共咧。嗱，佢一定有後著。今日大家記得年頭係嘛？喂 ，Donald Trump 又開個記者招待會，指名道姓阿馬杜羅咧，喂干預呢個美國選舉喎。今日1個月都唔使啊嘛，將阿馬杜羅就捉過翻呢個美國啦。嗱，咁啊 Donald Trump 點樣對付中共咧？就會唔會即係重複將阿習近平捉翻美國咧？我諗呢個難度就大好多係嘛，因為你中國你都唔知習近平匿埋喺邊度係嘛，馬杜羅容易揾啫，但係習近平匿埋喺邊度咧係嘛？而且 Donald Trump 對付邪惡軸心咧，就每一個都唔同㗎。你睇下委內瑞拉馬杜羅捉翻佢啦係嘛？今日對付呢個即係伊朗咧，將佢啲即係神棍全部斬首係嘛？今日對付中共今日點樣咧？呢個就真係唔知道啦，因為我哋咧就冇水晶球啊，就唔知Donald Trump諗乜嘢。嗱，不過大家要留意啊，而家美國咧就有2件事咧，就對中共咧就做緊嘅。第一就係追究呢個武漢肺炎嘅責任啊。咁喺好多州入邊咧，已經嗰個集體訴訟咧就勝訴嘛。咁啊唔知點樣同呢個中國政府傾啊？究竟佢點樣賠幾多錢啦？咁啊第二樣嘢咧就係而家啦，今次咧就揭露咗，話你操控咗2020年個美國總統選舉喎。咁啊而且亦都有好多證據顯示咧，話你攞咗好多選民呢啲咁嘅資料。嗱，呢啲咁嘅選民資料全部係國家安全嚟嘅喎，係嘛？美國人嘅私隱嚟嘅喎。嗱，選民資料俾盜竊咧，其實喺每一個西方政府係唔可以接受嘅。嗱，呢件事咧仲嚴重過呢個馬杜羅干預呢個美國選舉係嘛？嗱，相信Donald Trump咧好快咧就會有呢個反擊。嗱，反擊嘅行動係乜嘢咧？咁我哋就拭目以待啦，係嘛？因為Donald Trump即係出牌咧就唔係按呢個常理出牌嘅係嘛？即係唔係話大家順住條路，大家有文有路摸到嘅，係摸唔到嘅。咁啊，即係嚟緊咧有咩大事發生咧？咁啊，大家咧就唔好驚嚇啦，係嘛？大家要有心理準備啦。好啦，今日時間差唔多啦，多謝大家收聽同埋收睇，拜拜。